In the bustling social circles where elegance met extravagance, Eleanor Harrington glided through her days as the epitome of refined privilege, her porcelain skin and designer gowns setting her apart like a rare jewel in a sea of ordinary stones. She had inherited a vast fortune from her late husband, a man whose business acumen had built an empire of luxury goods, leaving her to indulge in the finer things without a care for the world beyond her manicured gardens and afternoon teas. Yet lately her routine had been disrupted by the sight of a mysterious man at the exclusive club. She frequented a tall, dark-skinned figure with an aura of effortless charm, always accompanied by a different woman each time she spotted him. Blondes, brunettes, redheads, all hanging on his every word with giggles and whispers that made Eleanor's lips curl in disdain. She dismissed him as nothing more than a charmer, perhaps a gigolo preying on lonely hearts, underestimating his depth because, in her world of English propriety and stiff upper lips, such men were mere entertainment for the desperate. Week after week she'd observe from her corner table, sipping her Earl Grey, noting how he'd lean in close, his deep voice resonating like a forbidden melody, making those women blush and laugh in ways that seemed utterly undignified. Eleanor told herself she was above it all, her judgments rooted in the cultural norms of restraint and decorum she held dear, but a flicker of curiosity began to stir beneath her polished exterior, though she'd never admit it. As the days turned into weeks, Eleanor's underestimation grew into a quiet obsession. She'd arrive early just to catch glimpses of him, convincing herself it was mere amusement at his predictable conquests. One evening, as rain pattered against the club's windows in true English fashion, she watched him bid farewell to yet another admirer with a kiss on the hand that spoke of old-world gallantry, and for the first time, their eyes met across the room. A brief electric connection that left her heart racing unexpectedly. Shaking it off as nonsense, she straightened her posture and reminded herself of her status. But deep down, the seeds of doubt about her assumptions had been planted. Eleanor's mornings were a ritual of solitude spent in her grand home, surrounded by antique furniture and portraits of ancestors who embodied the stoic English spirit, but now her thoughts wandered to the enigmatic man she dubbed the player in her mind. She found herself replaying his interactions, the way his laughter echoed with genuine warmth, contrasting the superficial flings she imagined, and it irked her that he seemed so at ease while she, with all her wealth, felt increasingly isolated. Friends at her bridge club gossiped about similar figures, whispering tales of charmers who navigated high society with ease, but Eleanor waved them off, insisting such men were beneath notice, even as her evenings at the club became more frequent. The twists began subtly. One afternoon, while browsing a quaint bookshop filled with leather-bound classics, she overheard a conversation about a man matching his description. A consultant in intimate affairs, they called him, a professional who helped women rediscover passion with discretion and empathy. Shocked, Eleanor purchased a volume of Jane Austen to steady her nerves. The irony not lost on her as she pondered the parallels to societal undercurrents in those stories of class and misconception. Back at the club that night, she saw him again, this time with a woman who confided in him like a therapist, tears in her eyes turning to smiles, and Eleanor's underestimation cracked just a fraction, wondering if there was more to his profession than met the eye. Emotions swelled as Eleanor confided in her diary that evening, the pages filling with conflicted words about judgment and loneliness, her English reserve battling an emerging vulnerability. The rain outside mirrored her turmoil, pounding relentlessly as she admitted to herself that weeks of observation had bred not just disdain, but a reluctant fascination. Little did she know, the man, whose name she still didn't know, had noticed her watchful gaze, interpreting it as intrigue rather than scorn, setting the stage for an encounter that would upend her world. As the seasons shifted with the unpredictable English weather, Eleanor's routine evolved into a game of cat and mouse. where she'd position herself strategically at the club to observe without being obvious, her heart quickening each time he appeared with a new companion. She rationalized her behavior as harmless entertainment, a distraction from the emptiness of her widowed life. But the twists deepened when she learned through overheard whispers that his name was Marcus, a man of mysterious origins who specialized in emotional companionship, a euphemism that both repelled and intrigued her. Underestimating him still, she saw his profession as a sleight of hand, a way to exploit vulnerability, ignoring the genuine connections he seemed to forge. One fateful evening, amid the club's dimly lit ambiance, filled with the clink of crystal glasses and soft piano tunes, Marcus approached her table, uninvited, his smile disarming as he introduced himself with a bow that echoed chivalric tales from English literature. Eleanor's pulse raced. Weeks of underestimation shattered in that moment as his eyes held hers with an intensity that spoke of depth beyond her assumptions. They exchanged pleasantries laced with tension, her words clipped and proper, his warm and inviting, revealing a man well-versed in poetry and philosophy, challenging her preconceived notions. The emotional pull was immediate and overwhelming. As they talked, Marcus shared snippets of his life without revealing too much, his voice a soothing balm to her guarded soul. She felt exposed, her underestimation turning to regret. But the drama escalated when he gently called her out on her stares, admitting he'd been aware all along, leaving her flustered and yearning for more. That night, as she lay in bed listening to the wind howl, Eleanor realized this meeting was no accident. It was the culmination of weeks of silent judgment, now twisting into something profoundly personal. Eleanor's world tilted on its axis after that first conversation, her days now colored by replays of Marcus's words, his laughter echoing in her mind like a forbidden symphony amidst the quiet of her opulent home. She tried to reclaim her composure through traditional English pursuits, gardening in the misty mornings, attending literary salons where discussions of Dickens and Shakespeare provided temporary escape. But the underestimation she'd harbored for weeks haunted her, morphing into self-doubt about her own prejudices. Marcus, with his array of companions, suddenly seemed less like a predator and more like a healer, a twist that made her question the rigid class divides she'd always upheld. Invitations to the club became laced with anticipation. She dressed with extra care, choosing outfits that blended elegance with subtle allure, all while denying to herself that it was for him. When they met again, the conversation delved deeper. Marcus shared stories of women he'd helped through heartbreak, his profession not just about physical intimacy, but emotional revival, a revelation that struck Eleanor like a thunderclap in a summer storm. Her heart ached with empathy, the drama intensifying as she confessed her initial disdain, tears welling in her eyes for the first time in years. The emotional layers peeled back that night, with Marcus listening without judgment, his presence a comforting anchor in her sea of isolation. As they parted under the club's awning, rain drizzling softly, he handed her a note with his number, whispering that underestimation often hid deeper desires. Eleanor clutched it tightly on her way home, the twist of fate leaving her breathless, knowing this was the beginning of a journey that would challenge everything she thought she knew about love and connection. Restless nights plagued Eleanor, her dreams intertwining memories of her late husband with visions of Marcus's enigmatic smile, the cultural norms of English restraint clashing against the raw emotion bubbling within. She ventured into uncharted territory by researching his world discreetly, reading articles on companionship in modern society, each word eroding her weeks-long underestimation and replacing it with a mix of admiration and fear. The club's atmosphere now felt charged, every glance across the room a silent dialogue, building tension like a classic English novel heading toward its climax. Their next encounter was electric. Marcus invited her for a private tea in a secluded corner, where scones and clotted cream served as props for heartfelt confessions. He revealed the pain behind his profession, losses that drove him to help others find joy, twists of his own past that mirrored Eleanor's widowhood in unexpected ways. She opened up about her loneliness, the facade of wealth hiding a hollow heart, their words weaving a tapestry of vulnerability that drew them closer. Drama unfolded as a jealous former client interrupted, accusing Marcus of deceit, but he handled it with grace, defending his integrity while protecting Eleanor's privacy. The incident shook her, yet strengthened her resolve. Walking home through foggy streets, she felt alive for the first time, the emotional bond solidifying into something undeniable. Marcus had become more than a figure to underestimate. He was the key to her locked-away passions. Eleanor's transformation accelerated, her once predictable life now infused with secret meetings and stolen moments, the English decorum she prized bending under the weight of newfound desire. She began seeing Marcus beyond the club, in quiet parks where birdsong accompanied their whispers, his stories of diverse women not evoking jealousy but understanding, as she realized his profession was a calling born from empathy. The twists came in waves. A letter from an old friend warned her of societal scandal, but Eleanor tore it up, choosing emotion over reputation. One afternoon, amid blooming gardens reminiscent of English countrysides, Marcus shared a vulnerable memory of rejection due to his skin color and background, striking a chord in Eleanor's heart and dismantling her lingering underestimations. Their connection deepened with a first tentative touch, a hand on hers that sent shivers through her, blending tenderness with passion. She confessed her weeks of observation, laughing at her folly, the drama turning intimate as they kissed under a willow tree. The emotional high was tempered by doubt. That evening, alone with her thoughts, Eleanor grappled with the implications, her cultural upbringing screaming caution while her heart urged surrender. Marcus's text arrived like a lifeline, promising more, twisting her resolve into eager anticipation. The story of underestimation had evolved into one of profound discovery, with no turning back. As their relationship blossomed in secrecy, Eleanor's home became a sanctuary for clandestine rendezvous, filled with candlelight dinners and soul-bearing talks that echoed the romanticism of English poetry. Marcus's presence challenged her views, his intellect shining through discussions on art and literature, proving her initial judgment woefully short-sighted. Twists emerged when she met one of his clients, by chance, a woman who thanked him for restoring her confidence, humanizing his profession in Eleanor's eyes. Passion ignited during a stormy night, thunder rumbling as they explored each other's worlds physically and emotionally, Marcus's expertise gentle and attentive, erasing weeks of misconception with every caress. Eleanor wept in his arms afterward, releasing years of pent-up grief, the drama peaking in a cathartic release that bound them tighter. He whispered promises of exclusivity, hinting at leaving his life behind for her. Yet, the emotional turmoil lingered. Morning brought reality's bite, with Eleanor fearing judgment from her social circle, the English emphasis on propriety clashing with her desires. Marcus reassured her with a gift, a rare book symbolizing their bond, twisting her fears into hope. Their story was no longer about underestimation, but about embracing the unexpected. Eleanor's confidence grew, her outings with Marcus becoming bolder, disguised as casual encounters in art galleries where masterpieces mirrored their evolving love. She learned of his dreams beyond his profession, writing a memoir on human connections, inspiring her to support him quietly, the twists revealing his multifaceted nature. Underestimation faded entirely, replaced by adoration for the man who'd seen her truly. A dramatic confrontation arose at the club. An acquaintance spotted them together, spreading rumors that reached Eleanor's ears like poison. Defiant, she faced Marcus, declaring her feelings openly, their argument turning into a passionate reconciliation under the stars. Emotion overflowed as he admitted loving her from afar, watching her watch him, a twist that melted her heart. The chapter closed with a promise. In her garden at dawn, they planned a future, Eleanor's wealth offering possibilities, but their bond rooted in mutual respect. The English reserve she'd clung to dissolved, leaving room for authentic joy. Their journey twisted from disdain to devotion, unbreakable now. Deepening intimacy brought new challenges. Eleanor's friends noticed her glow, probing with arched eyebrows over tea parties, forcing her to navigate lies while yearning to shout her love. Marcus introduced her to his hidden life. Quiet evenings cooking simple meals, contrasting her luxury, twists that grounded their romance in reality. Her underestimation seemed laughable now, a distant memory in the face of his unwavering support. Tragedy struck subtly. Marcus fell ill, a minor ailment amplifying Eleanor's fears of loss, echoing her husband's death. Nursing him with tenderness, she poured out her soul, the emotional depth forging unbreakable ties. He recovered, vowing to quit his profession, a twist that filled her with elation and anxiety about the unknown. Their reunion was fervent, bodies and hearts entwining in a dance of redemption, English inhibitions cast aside. Eleanor realized true wealth lay in connection, not fortune, the drama resolving into serene certainty. The story pulsed with life, each twist drawing them closer. Eleanor's world expanded through Marcus's eyes, exploring hidden gems of culture, poetry readings in cozy venues where verses spoke to their souls. He shared scars from past discriminations, twisting her empathy into fierce protectiveness, eradicating any remnant of underestimation. Their love became a beacon, illuminating her shadowed existence. A major twist arrived via an anonymous letter threatening exposure of Marcus's past, sending Eleanor into a spiral of paranoia. Confronting him, truths emerged. His profession stemmed from survival, not choice, and her forgiveness strengthened their bond. Drama climaxed in a heated exchange, ending in vows of loyalty. Emotionally renewed, they escaped for a private retreat, whispers of forever amid nature's embrace. Eleanor's English poise blended with passion, creating harmony. The narrative twisted toward triumph, underestimation a catalyst for profound love. As seasons cycled, Eleanor's commitment solidified. She began integrating Marcus into her life subtly, introducing him as a friend at gatherings, navigating societal whispers with grace. His charm won over skeptics, twists revealing prejudices in her circle that mirrored her own past errors. Underestimation evolved into advocacy, her defending him fiercely. Intimacy reached new heights during a moonlit walk, where Marcus proposed informally, a ring symbolizing their union, emotion overwhelming Eleanor in joyful tears. Yet doubts crept in. Could she fully embrace his world? The drama intensified with self-reflection, leading to acceptance. Their bond, forged in fire, promised eternity, English traditions merging with bold love. The story's twists kept unfolding, each chapter richer than the last. Eleanor's transformation inspired change. She volunteered discreetly, influenced by Marcus's compassion, twisting her privilege into purpose without fanfare. He pursued his writing, her encouragement fueling dreams, their partnership a testament to growth. Weeks of observation now fond anecdotes, shared in laughter. A shocking twist. A former client resurfaced, claiming lingering ties, testing Eleanor's trust. Confrontation revealed manipulation, Marcus's innocence shining through, emotional catharsis deepening their love. United, they faced the storm, emerging stronger. In quiet moments, they planned adventures, hearts aligned in harmony. The narrative pulsed with drama, underestimation a distant echo. Approaching culmination, Eleanor's confidence soared. Public outings defied norms, her English elegance complemented by Marcus's vibrancy. Friends adapted, some embracing, others fading, twists refining her circle. His profession fully behind him, new beginnings beckoned. Emotion peaked in a private vow exchange, promises etched in souls amid candlelight. Yet a final twist. Family heirlooms questioned her choices, forcing introspection. Resolving with conviction, she chose love over legacy. Their story, rich with twists, celebrated authentic connection, inviting reflection. Eleanor's life intertwined seamlessly with Marcus's, shared routines blending luxury and simplicity, English teas with soulful talks. Twists came in joyful news, his book deal, her pride overflowing. Underestimation's shadow vanished, replaced by mutual elevation. Drama arose from external pressures, media whispers of scandal, but they stood firm, emotion fueling resilience. A public declaration silenced doubters, their love a beacon. In serenity, they envisioned futures, hearts eternally linked. As the narrative neared its end, Eleanor's reflections highlighted growth, from judgmental observer to devoted partner. Marcus's influence softened her, twists revealing hidden strengths. Their bond, tested and true, embodied redemption. A penultimate twist, a reconciliation with a estranged relative, inspired by their story, adding layers of family drama. Emotion flowed in forgiveness, completing her arc. United, they faced tomorrow, love's triumph evident. In the final chapter, Eleanor and Marcus embraced a life of quiet bliss, their home a haven of laughter and passion, English traditions enriched by diverse perspectives. Weeks of underestimation had led to eternal love, twists culminating in wedding bells rung in intimate ceremony. Happiness radiated, a testament to open hearts. Yet, one last emotional twist. Marcus revealed a child from his past, welcoming Eleanor into fatherhood's fold, her acceptance sealing their family. Drama resolved in unity, underestimation birthing profound joy. As their story concludes, remember, love defies assumptions. If this tale of drama, twists, and emotion captivated you, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more engaging stories that touch the heart and challenge the mind. Hit that button now and join our community.